You already know what time it is.
Hi, I'm Chad, and welcome to another episode of Storytime. Once again, I am riding my 2017 Aprilia Tuono V4 1100 factory, and today I'm going to tell you all about how I bought my first motorcycle. But before we get started, I'd appreciate it if you gave me a gentle little click of the like button if you've been enjoying these Storytime videos and would like to see more of them. I'm curious, I've put out a few of these in the past couple weeks, and I'd like to see what your feedback is. If there's anything constructive you can offer or anything else you'd rather see, drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. And if you haven't subscribed already and like Tuono V4s and beautiful Italian V4 sounds and amateur club racing and wheelies on a supermoto, subscribe. Turn the notifications on. I'd like to say that I'm confident you won't be disappointed. Still warming her up. And with that, let's discuss. So in case you've missed my last two episodes of Storytime, I'm going to drop a card up here to the first one that was talking about how I got into motorcycles. Then after that, I recommend watching why my mom didn't want me to get a motorcycle. Because when I was shopping for my first motorcycle and starting to ride, I lived at home. But this episode is a follow-up to that last one, so it might help to have that context, but either way, it's a good standalone story in and of itself. So the year is 2013. It is the fall, November specifically. I had taken the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course in July of that year, purchased a helmet, a jacket, gloves, and riding shoes in the meantime, and I was starting to look at my first bike. Now mind you, I was a broke college student living at home. Didn't have a whole lot of money to my name, maybe $1,500 or $2,000 in the bank, but I worked a part-time job and made about $1,000 a month. So I figured, hey, I should be able to finance a bike, right? Wrong. Being that I was 20 years old and had basically no credit history aside from the one credit card I had through my credit union that had a $500 limit, and the fact that I barely made 10 grand a year before taxes, I was having a hard time getting approved for a loan. I started off kind of high. I knew I wanted to start on a 600. In hindsight, a 250 or a 300 would have been a lot better, but nevertheless, I made my decisions and here I am today. So I wanted to start on a 600, the Yamaha R6, the third generation specifically. I wanted that super sleek, sexy razor tail, the big old front fairing with the angry insect headlights and that big old ram air duct in the middle there. And I mean, what a machine that was. 16,500 RPM redline, 130 horsepower, sounded like a little Formula One car. Amazing machine. So I was looking for R6s, and at the time they were all about $6,000 to $9,000, maybe 10 depending on the year. Being it was 2013 and they were still producing the third gen R6. So the first bike I found was a 2007. It was blue and black, that classic Yamaha color scheme. Had like 6,000 miles on it. It was on consignment at a used bike dealer. Asking price was $6,600. So I went and checked it out, talked to them about financing. They gave me an insane APR. It was like 20% or something like that. Went to my credit union, tried to get the bike financed, and my credit union was like, nope, debt to income way too high. So I'm just like, shoot, okay, moving on. That bike was beautiful too. It was in mint condition, had case sliders, had aftermarket levers and grips, had a GYTR exhaust. It was clean. Absolutely beautiful motorcycle, and probably not what I should have bought in the first place, because I would have dropped it like 3 weeks later and I would have been really sad. So after being denied my loan, I figured, okay, maybe I should scale my budget back a little bit and see what I can do. So I go and I find a 2006 Honda CBR 600RR. Asking price is $4,800. Had 3,000 original miles on it. Original owner. Kind of crazy to think about how cheap motorcycles used to be. Prices are insane now. But anyways, I figured this bike's a lot cheaper. Maybe it'll work. So checked it out, got the VIN, Went back to my credit union, applied for another loan, and got denied again. So I again went cheaper. I found a 2003 Yamaha R6 that had 9,000 miles on it, had an exhaust and a couple other little bits and bobs. $4,000. I'm like, okay, come on guys. I make like $10,000 a year. That's not even half that. I should get approved. Nope. Denied me once again. I was just like, how? When I've been banking with you guys since I was literally born, thanks Mom and Dad, can I not get a loan? Back to the drawing board. I again start looking for a cheaper bike. Eventually I find a 2003 Honda CBR 600RR. 20,000 miles. It was in good shape overall, just had a little crack in the front cowl there from when the owner had loaded it up in his truck to move across the country, and it had fallen over when he was trying to load it. The bike had never been dropped otherwise. Everything else was in great shape, just needed a cleaning of the chain and an oil change, but everything checked out. $3,000. I'm like, man, I'm like 2/3 of the way there for this thing. Like, I should be able to afford this. They shouldn't deny my loan. They denied my loan. And it was hilarious too, because I'd been working with the same member services representative, or I don't even know if you would call them a loan officer, but it was the same lady. Every time I'd come in and she'd deny me my loan, she finally was just like, why do you want a motorcycle so bad? I can't even see you in my Challenger. I almost hit you guys on the regular. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Why would you say something like that? You're a horrible person. Shocked, I walk out of the credit union. And at this point it was kind of sad, because I'd had a good conversation with the guy that was selling the bike. His name was Jeremy. He was selling it because he was moving out to Hawaii and just wasn't going to take it with him. He bought it brand new in 2003 out in New Hampshire. Super nice guy, super cool, liked to surf. I was surfing a little bit at the time, and I had skateboarded my whole life, so we connected, talked a lot. So I felt really, really bad, because a $3,000 loan, I didn't think there was any way I was going to get denied for that. So I called Jeremy up and I'm just like, hey man, I'm really, really sorry to have wasted your time, but this is the situation. I can't get a loan. I know this would be a long shot, but is there any chance you'd be willing to sign like a contract or something where I could pay you monthly? I could pay you some interest too. Is that something you'd be willing to entertain? And Jeremy happened to be an attorney for a pharmaceutical company. So he was like, you know what? Let me draw something up. So he drew up a super simple contract, put the bike up to $3,500 with some simple interest, I think of like 3 or 4%. My payments worked out to $125 a month with a $500 down payment. I was going to be paying him over the course of 3 years. So Jeremy hit my dream come true and really just set me up for the happiest I could possibly be as myself riding motorcycles. And that was how I bought my 2003 CBR 600RR. Put 16,000 miles on that bike, dropped it, crashed it, kept learning. Ended up selling it for $4,000 with 36,000 miles on it, and bought my first Daytona 675. But yeah, ultimately it came down to another guy's generosity. He told me that he'd been in a position like me when he was younger, going to school not really happy, and could really relate to me. Thought I was a good guy and thought that I would make good on my promise to pay him. So we made it happen, and I am forever grateful to you, Jeremy. So if you're watching this video, thank you. One last thing I probably forgot to mention, I was not still paying for my CBR 600RR while I had my Daytona 675. I paid it off in 11 months. Got a job as a valet just a couple of months after buying the bike. I was making way more money, and it was a lot easier to overpay, so I did. Paid her off in 11 months. Then I celebrated by taking her to the racetrack. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and haven't done it already, I would appreciate it if you gave me a gentle little click of the like button and considered subscribing for more motorcycling stories and content. Make videos like this twice a week. And I've also got a Triumph Daytona 675R race bike. I'll be racing in just a couple weeks here. And a Yamaha WR250X Supermoto that I like to clown around on. So again, I hope you enjoyed, and I will hope to catch you in the next one. Until then, later. Ooh, there you go. It's a good way to send it off.